Late Night launches podcasts, the latest from podnews.net with the Dr. John Deloney Show.
One more time, Jimmy.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Fallon.
I'm Stephen Colbert.
I'm Jimmy Kimmel. I thought when you said Jimmy, you meant me, Jimmy, but you meant Jimmy.
I always mean you.
5 US late night hosts are producing a limited series podcast to raise money for their out-of-work staff during the WGA writers' strike. Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers and John Oliver are making Strike Force 5, a limited series with at least 12 episodes, they say, with Spotify. Podcast host Libsyn has launched Libsyn EDU, aimed at fostering excellence in podcasting and nurturing the next generation of podcasting talent. The company is also launching the creation of the Libsyn Fellowship for a student enrolled in NYU's Podcasting and Audio Reportage Master's concentration. Editing tool Podcastle has launched what it calls the first real-time collaborative podcasting platform. Teams of producers and editors can now work on the same project simultaneously. Podcast app Snipped has launched Premium, which adds AI episode summaries and transcripts. The app has been rewritten to also work with private RSS feeds. An APM podcast is going on tour. Marketplace's Million Bazillion Kids Show is, this September, set to visit middle schools across the US to help more than 50,000 students with financial knowledge and empowerment. And yesterday we said that the trial of Lucy Letby hadn't made it to number one, as the Daily Mail had claimed it had. In fact, we were misled by Spotify's Chartable, which lists the podcast twice. We clicked on the wrong one, and the other podcast had, in fact, hit number one, as the Mail had claimed. And in podcast news, lots of podcast news today. F1 with DRS has announced exclusive video episodes on Spotify. It's a Formula One podcast hosted by Dax Shepard. Your Mama's Kitchen is now available wherever you get your podcasts. It's a new podcast from Higher Ground and launched earlier this month on Audible. Now available everywhere with a partnership with Acast. Almost Pro USC Football is new from the Tommy Group and Yay Networks and will deliver a behind-the-scenes look into the world of NCAA college football. Vlad and Nikki's Podcast Adventures, presented by Flintstone Vitamins, is new from Odyssey and the Global Kids Superstars, or would you prefer that I pronounced it vitamins? Possibly vitamins. Anyway, the preschool series has more than 96 million subscribers on their English language channel and 330 million subscribers worldwide. From the Society for Endocrinology, Hormones, The Inside Story is back for a third series. The show will bust myths around common hormonal conditions, including diabetes and thyroid dysfunction, and an awful lot more. It's produced by science podcast specialists First Create the Media. And The Briefing Room returns for a new season today, with award-winning true crime podcast co-hosts and veteran detectives Dan and Dave, diving deep into the unique perspective of law enforcement on cases, protocols, and mental health. This podcast is sponsored by the Dr. John Deloney Show. A more peaceful life is possible. For practical advice on dealing with loneliness, anxiety, depression, relationships, and more, find the Dr. John Deloney Show wherever you get your podcasts. And as the latest from our newsletter, to read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.